We spend so much time overcomplicating what we do because of our thought process. We spend so much time thinking about what's the missing piece or sitting in our head or feeling lack when, like she said last night, you literally just have to do it. Every single thing that you do every single day is a decision. And something I want to kind of just like put on your plate to be absorbed today is I want you to think about it this way. Number one, if you can't show up consistently 100% right now, number one, how are you going to produce that income? It's not going to happen, right? It's like, how are you going to get to the goal weight if you're not going to the gym every day? So it's not going to happen. But number two, if you can't give it 100% when you're not making the income yet, do you think that if you're making an incredible income 1 year down the road or 2 years down the road, that you're going to be consistent when you already have the money coming in? Or do you think you're going to sit back and kick your feet up and then your business is going to crumble? And this is something people don't talk about a lot. But if you can't be consistent in, like she said, the small areas of your life every single day, like waking up and taking your capsules, or waking up and going for a 20-minute walk because you know your body needs to, or working every day to not snap at your husband, right? Like there's so many little areas of our life that we half-ass. So if you can't do that now, if you can't manage your finances now, if you can't put money in savings right now, if you can't show up every single day to do a round of IPs right now, you gaining income, gaining a rank you want, getting to whatever you're working towards is going to make you more lazy. You're not just going to wake up and have, like she said, you can hit a rank before you're ready. You can have a team blow up before you're ready. But if you're not ready for it and you can't show up right now, what's going to happen when you get it? You're going to be like, oh, right? It's justifying the work that you're putting in. So I want you to start now with producing a work ethic that you're proud of in every area of your life. As she said, if you can't give your business 100%, I guarantee you you're not giving the other areas 100%. I know that if I'm not giving 100% to my health and moving my body every day and drinking my water, I'm probably not giving 100% to any other area either, because it is seamless and it's a choice every single day. And I think that that was so important when she talked about that. And that's what I want you to think about. You're wishing and wanting this income, but if you still struggle every single day to show up and stay consistent and not get in your head, how, number one, are you going to get to that income? But then how are you going to sustain it? If your volume dropping 200 in a month right now destroys you, how do you think it's going to feel when it's 20,000 in a month and your volume drops? Because it's a business. That's just how it is. So I love that she talked about that. And you have to season and condition yourself right now for the life that you want. Because I always say, when you hit a rank or you have an income, you don't wake up all of a sudden as a different person. You still have the same habits. You still have the same personality, the same quirks, the same things you need to heal. So what if you just started now? Imagine then how happy and fulfilled you would be when you actually get to where you want to be, but you've conditioned yourself to be the human that you actually want to show up as in your marriage, in your finances, in your business, in every area. And she inspired me when she talked about that. I felt like crap this morning, like absolute crap. I'm starting my cycle after a fifth medicated cycle, and my body's like, oh, sister, like this is hard. And I wanted to sit in bed and cry. And I was like, no, Krista told me that I just need to do it and I need to decide. So I'm going to pop 2 Tylenol and I'm going to go walk my dogs. I'm going to go see the moo cows. I'm going to drink my shake. I'm going to read my Bible. You just have to do it. And it's a decision. And a lot of people wish and want and hope for these things. But if you can't show up 100% at the stage of life you're in right now, you're never going to get to the next stage. You're not owning this, showing that you are capable of being in control of where you're at. You can't grow it. The same way I always talk about that with finances and stuff. If you can't manage $1,000 a month, you're not going to get 10,000, because then what are you going to do? You know what I mean? So I think that that was so important that she said that, and it really just motivated me. And I know that motivation is a fleeting feeling, but grab onto those moments when people say that to you. It's a decision. The relationship that you're in, the way that you treat your spouse, the way you treat your finances, the way you treat the business. And if you want to get somewhere, you have to show up and you have to decide. And I can say throughout my entire journey in network marketing, if you were to ask me the one thing that got me to where I am throughout all the things I've been through, all the growth, It's that I never stopped showing up. Even when my paycheck dropped thousands of dollars, even when I had people leave my team, even when my entire business crumbled in my previous company, I still had belief in myself and I still had belief in the industry, and I didn't stop showing up. It doesn't mean that hard times didn't come. It doesn't mean that I didn't go through things and have faults and have weaknesses and have to grow in so many areas. But no matter what stage I was at, I showed up and I kept going. Because as we always say, do not let your why be your excuse, right? So that was the first thing I want to talk about, because that training was great. And if you weren't on it last night, I highly, highly recommend to watch it today. But then as I was listening to Katie's training, the team page from yesterday, which first of all, I just love that we get poured into from every single angle. And I don't care if I'm the leader of this team, I gain so much knowledge every single day from every single one of you. And it was so, so good. And as she was talking on that live, I was reading this part of my Bible. I'm in Mark right now. And I love, love, love the parables because it can relate to every area of your life. And that's how Jesus taught the masses. He shared parables and examples, right? Like we're always talking about analogies and all these things. And I read this one. It's Mark, I think it's Mark 4. Yeah, Mark 4, around like 26 to 29. And it's the parable of the growing seed. And it says, night and day while he's asleep or awake, the seed sprouts and grows, but he does not understand how it happens. The earth produces the crops on its own. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time. Night and day while he's asleep or awake, the seed sprouts and grows, but he does not understand how it happens. The earth produces the crops on its own. Okay, and I want to talk about this because as leaders, we always say the biggest question that we get all the time is, what's the secret? What's that one thing I'm going to do that's going to completely change my business? That's going to bring that runner to me, that's going to transform it. And this is why we always come back and say, I don't have that to give you because I don't know. It's not our business, right? And like I said, I'm sorry if you're not a Jesus lover like I am, but I'm going to preach right now for a minute. I have no idea how I got here. I hustled hard and I believed hard and I showed up every single day, but something happening like Katie Kobe coming into my inbox and joining my team, or Lindsay joining my team, right? These big leaders that I have, that wasn't on me. Right? Somebody told Katie to block me. So she came to my page and joined my business and went 200K in 6 months. And she changed my life, not just her own, but mine. And I didn't do that. So there's so many things in your business where you want this answer for. God is going to bless your business. God is in charge of your business, but the way that you show up, the way you walk in your character, where you keep your focus will attract the direction in which your business is going to go. We know how to do the things. As I said before, you guys know how to get on here and do IPAs. Do your IPAs. I can talk. You know exactly what to do. We have all the trainings. We know how to post. We know that we need to go face to face. We know we have our hands on incredible products and compensation plans. But the direction of your business, we are not in control of. The miracles that he will produce for you, we have no way of even understanding or comprehending, not just where they're going to come from, but how he's going to make them happen. So things like Katie joining my business, Lindsay joining my business, right? Jen trusting me through this and staying in my business. These leaders on my team that have produced these huge teams with all of us here. Sure, I showed up every single day and I worked, but I'm not in control of it. So you're asking and wanting and wishing for this secret sauce, this method to grow your business. Focus on your heart. Like Katie said in her live yesterday, do you pray over your business? Do you have your ego in check when you show up on social media? Are you doing this for the right reasons? Because when you are, and when you're aligned with your faith or whoever your God is, number one, I just want to say you can love Jesus and you can make a hell of a lot of money. So don't ever get that twisted that you cannot have financial freedom and love Jesus, because sister, he will bless you in ways you could never imagine. I'm going to talk about dollar amounts in a second. But you have to check yourself and your motives in your business, because you can show up and do every single thing, but we're still not in charge. We're still not in charge. He's in charge, and he will check you and he will knock you back down a peg if he needs to, but he will also bless you in ways that you could never imagine. So leaders finding me, people coming into my business, you guys showing up every single day, it's not just because of my actions. It's because of him too. So as back to where I got off on a tangent, but back to what this verse says, the earth produces the crop on its own. Your crop, your harvest, it will produce. You know what you have to show up and do, but stop trying to figure out the rest of it. Stop overthinking. Stop getting in your head. Stop spending so much time in lack, wondering why you aren't where you're supposed to be. When you surrender and lay that trust over to him, that's when your business grows. When you check your ego, like I'm going to talk about that. Yeah, you don't have to be a Christian for this to apply to you, right? The crop produces on its own. Wherever you think that crop is growing, that is your field, right? Believe in whatever you want to believe in. It will produce on its own. We don't have our hands on every single facet of our business. We don't. We can't control all of it. We have no way to do that. Sure, maybe a post I put up drew Katie into my inbox, but somebody had to crap talk me, and he let that happen for her to be told to block me. So that, why are you driving so slow? This big window is a distraction. He had to allow that to happen for her to find my page. That wasn't me. I didn't do that. Things will work in ways that you can never, ever imagine, but it's going to grow on its own. If you show up and do your part and you get to that door, he will open that door for you. He will. But you have to stop overthinking it, and you have to check the way in which you're showing up for your business. And this is something Katie talked about yesterday too. You need to get really real with why you're doing this and why you're showing up, because it is so easy to get lost in this industry. And I spent 2019 as a person I didn't even recognize, because I lost myself in this industry. I lost my discernment. I lost what I was working for. I got caught up in things and in my ego and in my insecurities and in imposter syndrome and all these things. And y'all, God checked me so quick. So quick, and I'm going to talk about this because it's not what we're here for. So if what you are fighting for is a badge on a picture, we need to rethink this. It's not about the rank. It's not about how many people show your post love. It's not about how many congratulations you get on a promotion post. It has nothing to do with this. This is our vehicle. It's what helps us, but it's not what you're working towards. And I got sucked into the trap last year of being so wrapped up in who I thought I needed to be because of the income I had made, that I lost myself and I lost where my focus needed to be. So I want you to ask yourself, and this is why even Lindsay says every day, wake up and say your why. Remind yourself of what you're really here, because it's so easy to get lost in this industry, as I said, because it becomes materialistic and it becomes like you get so sucked into like the company or the industry or the promotions, when in reality we joined this to fight for our families. We joined this to create freedom. We joined this to help other people. And I just had such a full circle moment over the past 48 hours of remembering like how hard last year was for me and the way that I grew through it and the way that he checked me. Because if you're not showing up for the right reasons, or the reasons why this opportunity has been put in your life, it's going to be really hard to get anywhere. If you're fighting for the wrong thing, if your ego is focused in the wrong direction, even if you're showing up in lack, trying to produce content when inside all you're thinking about is, why aren't people in my inbox? Why isn't anybody signing me? Why was it like you can't produce content and reach people and reach the true goals for why you're here if your focus is in the wrong direction? So I want to share just like the last year. And like I said, be doing your IPs, work away. I'm just going to keep talking. And we're going to talk dollar amounts. And if that makes people uncomfortable, I'm so sorry. But I want to tell you guys what happened last year in my business. So like I said, 2019 was very, very hard. And the beginning of 2020 was extremely hard for me because I was coming out of that hard season. I had to heal from it. You know, you don't just wake up out of a hard season, you're like, oh, everything's great now. You have to rebuild. You have to work through the things you've been triggered by, the trauma, the hurt, everything you went through, right? And so what happened in my business, and if you've been around, I've mentioned bits and pieces of this, but I want to go in depth about like really where my focus was. And I'm going to bring you back full circle a little bit. But if you've been around for a while, I have always posted and I have always shared on my page, because people always ask me, you know, what are you doing this for? What's your why? Or what are you working towards? And after I brought Travis home from the oil field, I had to figure out then, what was I working for? Like, why was I showing up and fighting every day? Because we were taken care of and he was home. And I began to have it on my heart that my sole purpose was to fight for the family that we were building, the family, you know, that we would have in the future, the kids we would have. Like, I was planning for the future, right? That's why we're here. So that became my why. And I began to post about that and share that, you know, and when people ask you, why do you do what you do? And I say, it's for my children, but I don't have children yet. What does that mean? I'm still fighting for them, even if they're not here yet. So if you've been around, I've always posted in that way. And then what happened is I hit my first bonus in this company. Okay. And the bonuses are incredible, but I always want to season and train your mind to be prepared for them and to use them in the right way. Because my first bonus that I hit, it was at the, goodness, probably 2 years ago at this point, almost. I don't know exactly when it was, but the first bonus that we hit, things were skyrocketing as a team. We were doing incredible. I hit my first bonus that added, okay, and like I said, we're going to talk dollar amount, that added over $10,000 every single week to my paycheck. Every single week I had $10,000 added. I mean, first of all, tell me another company that can even do that ever. It's incredible. It's such a blessing. But at that point, I think I just turned 24, 25. I had no idea what to do with money like that. And I got sucked into this vortex of, oh, well, you're making X amount of money now, so you have to show up differently, or you have to act differently, or you have to start looking differently. Or like, I was like, oh crap, like I'm at that point that I prayed for in this industry. And now I don't know who I'm supposed to be. And I lost myself. And the series of events that happened is, and I've always said this, I have been smart. Like, we paid off our debt first. I've always put money in savings, but I still was not being as smart as I could. And I began to think that I needed to show up in a certain way or be a certain person. That was a product of my environment. It was a product of who I was spending time with. It was a product of the dollar in my bank account that I was not ready for and didn't know how to handle. And probably like a month into making that bonus, so just a month of paychecks, our lease was up at our first house. And we had a great first home. It was 1,400 square feet. It was 2 bedrooms. I had an office. It was a one-story, but it was perfect for us. It's just me and Travis, right? But because of that income in my account, I was like, we need to move into a bigger house. And he was like, why? And I'm like, well, because we can afford it. Like, that was literally my mindset. I was like, well, if I'm making X amount of week and our rent, I think our rent was like 1,400 at that point. I was like, why are we in a house this small if our income is this big? I'll get to that in a minute. Don't use me as an example. So we started to look for our next house, and I found a house that was beautiful and stunning and expensive and 4,500 square feet and all these bedrooms. And if you've been around, you've heard part of the story. But I was like, no, we're making this much money now, so we need to start living larger. I need to be in a bigger house. You know, I need to be that network marketer with the bougie fancy house and all these fancy, and no. So we moved into that house, and I looked at my memories today on Facebook, and the memories were a U-Haul truck sitting outside of our first house. Okay, sitting outside of our first house. We were packing up. We were moving on August 20th of 2018 into that big old house. And I remember the drive to that house after we packed all of our stuff out of our first home together, the home we had lived in. And I remember the whole drive there, I felt sick. And I felt like I was making a mistake. And I could cry because like the weight on my chest, I was like, this isn't right. Like, something isn't right. I don't feel good about this. And you can ask Travis, if he wasn't sleeping, I sent him a text message. I was in my car and he was in the U-Haul. And I said, are we making a mistake? I said, can we afford this? Like, are we being stupid? And he, of course, being the good husband he was trying to calm me down. He's like, no, babe, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, we'd already signed a lease. What was he going to say? Yeah, you were stupid for picking this big of a house. So we moved into it. Yes, we could afford it. Yes, I could still pay my bills. Yes, I could still put money in savings. But I began to become this person that I didn't even recognize because I thought I had to keep up because of the money that I was making. And I lost sight of why I was doing this in the first place. I lost sight of what this was supposed to be for my family. I lost sight of everything And all it did was put stress on my shoulders of, am I going to have enough money? Are we going to be able to, I was in lack 24/7. Guys, bonuses run out. That 10 grand wasn't always going to be on my paycheck. And probably 3/4 of the way through that year in that house, the bonuses ran out. And my checks dropped from 12,000 to 2,000 a week, which is still an incredible income. But when your rent is $3,500 and you're making 2,000 or less in a week, plus the utilities, like that's not living within your means. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. So what did I feel? The weight of the world on my shoulders. I was unaligned. I was uninspired. I was in lack 24/7 because I had put us in this position. And throughout all of this, because I had a bonus being paid out, I'd gotten so skewed. Did I still show up? Did I still pour into you guys? Yes, you probably didn't see me miss a beat, but I was struggling at home. I was struggling in my heart and my mind. And as a team, we weren't maintaining 200K until like the 28th of the month. And that was after having 4 other 200Ks on the team. So I had that many 200Ks and now I was barely maintaining it every month, right? And what happened is God knocked me down a peg. And he said, okay, we need to slow your roll here, right? Because what I was doing is not what he wanted me to duplicate to other people. I would have ran all of you guys into the ground. I would have been portraying the wrong things to you. I would have been training on the wrong things to you. So, and I'm going to pull up this income and I'm going to be honest about this because this is business. Okay. Hold on. Where is it? So in 2018, when we moved, and that was the year in August when we moved into that house and we had the first bonus payout and everything like that. That year in 2018, on my account, I made $625,000 for the year. Okay. That's a big number, right? That's insane. That's crazy. 2019, when I had used that huge amount of money to be stupid with, and he had knocked me back down a peg, my income for 2019 cut in half, which is still an incredible income, multiple 6 figures, but it was cut in half. Why? Because I wasn't where I needed to be to, number one, handle income like that. Number 2, lead a team to create an income like that. And number 3, I wasn't even aligned with what I was supposed to be doing. And he deposited on my heart that things had to change. And this is the part, I know this is long, but this is the part of the story when things began to evolve and change. And I reminded myself of why I was here. So that lease was up in that house and we could have done a rent to own, and they wanted us to put down $200,000 on that home to buy it. And I said, absolutely not. So what did we do? We went out and we downsized and we got into a home that was fit for us, that was beautiful and everything we needed, but not extravagant and not feeding my ego when that's not what we're here for. So if you came to my house, you probably would have no idea how much money I make. Is it a beautiful home? Yes, but I'm not flaunting. I'm not stunting. I'm not putting it in anybody's face. It's in my savings account and my investments account because we're being smart. So as we moved into this house and we began to make these decisions that supported the person, the woman of God that I'm supposed to be, everything began to change. The team's volume started to skyrocket, right? I showed that I could be responsible. I showed that I could be a leader. I showed that I wasn't here for things because guess what? Not a dang thing in that house fulfilled me or made me happy. Not a single thing. I was the most lost I had ever been in that home. I had no idea why I was there. It didn't feel like home. Nothing I bought made me feel good. Nothing I was doing made, because I wasn't living for who I was. I'm not somebody that likes attention or flashy things. I just thought I had to be. I thought I had to be that person, right? So we moved out and slowly my purpose began to reveal itself to me again. Okay. And that's when things started to change. And I'm going to loop this back to where I had started when I said that everything that I was doing was for my family, right? Everything was for my future kids. And at that part, I had no idea when I was making those posts, when I was saying those things, when I then moved into a house I didn't need to, I had no idea that I was going to struggle with infertility. I had no idea. Did I have a really messed up cycle that was painful? Yes, but I had no idea. I thought we would get married and do the thing and be pregnant. Nope, it's all great. We're going to have a baby, right? And the second we moved into this house was the second God revealed to me that it wasn't going to be that easy. And if I had stayed in that big house and I had stayed being unaligned with what I was doing, if I had stayed being reckless with my money, surrounding myself by the wrong people, spending my time gossiping, doing all of this crap, I would literally not be able to afford right now to have a baby. I wouldn't be able to afford these treatments. I wouldn't be able to afford the down payment I just put on my IVF because I was being stupid with my money. And he had put on my heart years ago that you're doing this for your family, you're doing this for your kids, but I wasn't ready to know the way in which I would have to do that. That it wasn't just going to be to have a savings account for a child. No, I would literally have to pay thousands of dollars to make this baby, right? And I didn't know that. And the second I humbled myself and I stopped caring what people thought, and I stopped wondering, are people going to judge me if I move into a smaller house? Are they going to think if my income dropped? Are they not going to think, I'm making as much money as this other person because they're doing all these things, all these different things. The second I did that and I healed and I got realigned with what I was supposed to be doing here, everything changed. Our income started to go back up past anything that we'd ever made before. The volume went back up. All of you guys are promoting. Everybody is making the volume in which everything changed from that small decision of you need to humble yourself and remind yourself of why you're here. You're not here to help somebody get into a house that's too big for them or to take a good Instagram picture. You're here because there are women that just want to wake up every day and not feel stressed, that want to be able to go and pay their medical bills, that want their husband home, that is why we're here. It's the freedom. And as I always say, my journey is always ass backwards. But that year of having my income cut in half, while it was still a blessing, I've never taken that for granted, I strapped myself. I completely strapped myself. And then the moment I humbled myself and said, okay, this isn't about my ego, God. It's not about my ego. It's not about what I need to show. It's not about a picture on it. It's not about that. It's about you. What do you need me to do? Everything changed. And he began to show me the way he needed me to move, the way he needed me to lead, the things that he needed me to get my shit together in, the areas that I was being so stupid in with things that didn't matter. That's what's going to happen when you realign. And this is the purpose of all of this, is that you need to get so clear on what you're doing this for. Because if you start fighting for the wrong things, sometimes you're going to get those things. And then you're going to be like me and be like, oh, that doesn't make me happy. That didn't fix my problems. That didn't heal me. That didn't do, this is not the life I want. It's not. You have to know what you are showing up for. And it's not for the fancy things. It's not. It's for the freedom. It's for being able to say, no, I'm just going to pay it in full. No, I'm just going to pay it in full. Do you need to pay? No, thank you. I'm just going to pay it in full. Right? Your purpose is not going to be revealed unless you surrender that. And when I surrendered that, and guys, don't ever get it wrong. Like, I hustle like nobody's business. I hustle. I will be here every day, but I still surrender. And it's a match between the two of me knowing, I know you need me to show up and do my part, but I also know that you need me to turn my mind off and stop trying to figure out stuff that has nothing to do with me, because you're going to reveal it to me. He will put things on your heart and show you the way in which you need to move, the direction in which you need to go. But don't you dare get lost like I did. Don't you dare do it. And that's why my story is so important. Like Katie said yesterday, she doesn't want her rank or her income to inspire you. I want our perseverance to inspire you. I want our heart to inspire you to say that, yeah, sure, maybe I could teach you some cool marketing trick to mass ad and do all this crazy prospecting and reaching out to skyrocket your enrollments. It's not going to be sustainable. And I believe that in my whole heart. And I have to check my ego all the time when I feel in lack, when I feel insecure, when I wonder why my volume isn't where somebody else's volume. Like, I have to check myself all the time. Like the other day and this is showing I'm human. I live in a new neighborhood, in a new build, and they're building a home, and I didn't build the one I'm in. I didn't like design it all and all that stuff, but somebody was building a house, and I was walking my dog, and I got insecure because I thought their house was prettier than mine. And I'm like, what? Why do we do this? Right? Do you know what I'm like? Why do we do those things? Like, I have a home and a roof over my head that is beautiful and comfortable. And like, why am I like this? So I have to check my ego all the time and say, it's not about me. It's about my purpose here. I don't care what the volume's at right now. I don't care about all these different things. Our purpose here is so much bigger than what you can even imagine. He's going to put those deposits in your mind and he's going to reveal that purpose to you. But our goal as leaders is to make it so much more than just, like we say, like a boss babe, join network marketing and do this and that. And it's not about that. It's about the quality of life that you want to create. But if you get so skewed that you're fighting for the wrong things, it's going to be so hard to get there, because then you get those things and you're like, oh, that doesn't do anything for me. It's not about the badge. It's not about the volume. It's not about all these different things. It's about the quality of life that you want to create and the freedoms that actually matter to you. You know, the things I've learned, like, do I like to travel? Yeah. We just went on a beautiful vacation, but about 3 days in, I just want to be home with my dogs. That's who I am. Do I have nice things? Yeah. Do I have a nice car? Yeah. Do I have nice pocketbooks? Yeah. But what makes me happy? Sitting on my porch in my $20 rocking chair from Walmart and reading a book, because I have the time freedom to, like, that's what matters to me. So you need to get real on what matters to you. And some people, they live for that flashy stuff. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. If that fulfills you, that fulfills you. But if it doesn't, you better realize that, right? It's about what matters. Yes, paying my medical bills. It's about what matters. It's about the things that are weighing over your head, and that little ounce of freedom where you're like, dang, I just did that. Like 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I wanted to share this. Like it says in here that the crop is going to grow on its own, but you have to show up and be walking the right walk for those blessings to rain down. Because he probably knows that the thing that you're fighting for right now, that you're so caught up in, that you're so insecure that somebody else has that you don't, he knows that even if you got it, it's probably not really what you want. It's not what's going to fulfill you. We just get caught up in comparison because we're humans. We get caught up in lack and it really doesn't matter. He knows what's going to fulfill you. That's why that baby thing was always put on my heart. I didn't know I was going to struggle with this. I didn't know that I was going to have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to have a baby that's mine in my body. Like, who the heck thinks they're going to have to do that? Nobody taught me about that in school. You know what I mean? But there are going to be those deposits that will guide you. But the most important thing is the way in which you show up and the pressure that you take off of yourself, because you're already capable. You're already worthy of it. It's already there for you to take, but you are so bogged down and so spent and so tired from trying to figure out the variables that at the end of the day, you have no control of. Your runner might find you on the Explore page, not because of a hashtag you put up or because of a way you made a post. Somebody might come to you just like Katie because they were told to block you, and your whole life changed. You don't know how your story is going to unfold. So please show up and do your part. Like Krista said, just do it. Show up and do it, but take the pressure off of yourself of thinking you want certain things or being caught up in certain things that don't matter. So I'm fine if we're the team in Lavelle that's a little different, that does things a little bit different, that would rather sit on a Zoom and talk about God for 40 minutes than send prospecting with. I'm cool with that, because I know that in 3 to 5 years, that's going to get you to your goals and that's going to help you achieve the things that you want, not trying to teach you to be a mass recruiter. It's the perseverance. Your business is going to dip. It's going to dip. I've had $202,000 months and we've had $800,000 months. Sales are going to change. Everything's going to change, but it's the quality of life. And I will say this time and time again, I don't care how much money I make. If this just paid the bare minimum of my bills, I would still be up here sharing and pouring into you and showing up in the same exact way, because that's worth it. It's the quality of life. If my bills are paid and I can be home, cool. That's all a woman could pray for. And I saw somebody on their story yesterday and it absolutely broke my heart, because she just had a baby and her baby was going back for, not going back, but going to its first day of daycare. And she was on her stories crying from mom guilt, from not wanting, she was like, what if my baby cries and I can't be the one to console her? She was like, my husband doesn't make enough for me to stay. And I just literally, I broke down and I was like, this is why we do what we do. It's not about the Louis Vuitton. It's not about the amount of followers. It's not about the 80K badge. It is the quality of life that you want to create. And when you start showing up in that way, and it's not in an egotistical, what do I need? Who do I need to sign? Like driven by things that don't even matter to you. That's when the blessings come down. When you show up just to better your life and help others, people come to you. They know that. They see where your heart is. They know why you're showing up, and that's when they're drawn to you, right? People, and this, I say this all the time, people are like, well, you just sign people because of the amount of money you make or your rank. People don't comprehend what I actually bring in. That's not even like on a radar of something that is understood. I heard on a podcast I listened to this morning, Ed Milet's new one, last month, a third of American households didn't pay their mortgage. A third. And I was like, wow, right? It's not the fancy things. We're fighting just for people to get their head above waters, to have that breath of fresh air, to have a quality of life where they're not struggling. And you have your hands on what can do that, and pair that with whatever faith you may have, whatever God you believe in, whatever energy crystal, I don't care what it is. Believe in something that is bigger than you, to know that you are worthy, and every dollar amount you want is already coming your way. Maybe you just need to get checked a little bit before it hits you, right? Because I don't want you to go through what I went through. Like Katie always says, could you handle those things? Could you handle your income dropping $300,000 in a year? Would you even know what to do with that? Probably not. God's still preparing you for that, right? We're not ready. We're going to get you to where it sustains, where you don't have loss like that because you got lost like I did, right? You can do it. You're so capable of it, and you are guided and you are loved and you are supported, but you've got to get out of your own head. And the moment you free yourself of that weight and just show up every day and say, I'm just going to absolutely freaking kill today. I'm going to stop worrying. I'm going to stop being insecure. I'm going to get up. I'm going to take my capsies. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to read my book. And then I'm going to show up on social media, and I'm going to inspire somebody to have a better day. I'm going to tell them that they don't have to struggle the way that they do. I'm going to instill and empower something in them that they've been told their whole life that they can't have. You're going to do that for somebody. And when you just show up and you're just yourself, like Krista said last night, you just be you. People are going to be attracted to that. Okay. I feel like this was all over the place. I hope that this touched you in some way, but like, goodness gracious, you just got to get up and do the dang thing. And you just have to be aligned with the character of who you want to be, and do not become somebody else. Watch who you are spending your time with. Watch the conversations that you're in. Watch the way you're talking to yourself. You are no different than me or anybody else that has achieved success. I am an absolute nut job, off my rocker all day long. Like, guys, I was on a Zoom last night when Krista was talking with no bra on, in my pajamas, doing my dish. I do everything you guys do. I just don't give up on myself. That's it. I just believed that I deserved it. And if you can't believe it for yourself, believe it for your spouse, believe it for your kids, believe it for your dogs. 4 years ago, I couldn't even afford dog food. My dog food went on a credit card. You don't deserve that. Nobody does, right? So I just want you to know that you can do it. You just have to get out of your head. You just have to decide. Just like when she made the analogy about like staying in a you don't have to stay in a shitty relationship. You don't have to stay in a shitty mindset. It's a decision. Make the decision to show up and operate in the way that you want to be, for who you want to be, and the income will follow. It will come. It's going to come. You're just blocking it because you're in your head and you're not surrendering, and you're trying to figure out all these things that are already figured out for you. They're planned out for you. They're here for you. They are literally sitting in a circle around you, but you're so trapped in here with your struggles and your insecurities and everything you're feeling. Love yourself. Be you. Not everybody's going to like you. It's okay. Guys, I have people on this team that I know don't like me. I don't care. Guys, I'm just here to inspire. If I'm not your cup of tea, that's totally fine. Let another leader pour into you. I'm hard to handle something. Trust me, my husband doesn't even like me some days. I can't expect everybody on social media to like me. Who do we think we are? Like Krista said, just be yourself. Show up and be yourself. Take the weight off your shoulders. Do what you know how to do. And the moment you take that pressure off of you and that weight off of you of, oh my gosh, what do I need to do? Nobody's in my inbox. I just show up and be you. Believe in the higher power you believe in. Be guided by the character that you want to have, and it's going to happen. Okay, so I mean, I hope y'all got some IPAs done while I just talked for 40 minutes. But I love you guys. I wanted to pour that into you, and if you need to go reread that, like I said, it was Mark 4:28. The earth produces the crop on its own. This industry is set up, and this company is designed for us, for your success. So don't block yourself from thinking that you're any different than anybody else. It is set up to make you successful. You just got to get this in check and this in check. And it's laid out there for you. So I hope that you guys have a great day, and I will see you later.